Once again, I was right. I was right. I was right. Turning the X-Men into a bunch of murder-happy freaks was never going to be a good thing. And yeah, now even Tom Brevoort has come out and agreed with me. When I said it before, when I was doing my review of what the X-Men had become, I said making the X-Men into a bunch of murder-happy sycophants was not a good thing at all. This was not good. This was not right. This should never have happened. But no, some people didn't agree with me. They thought I was just talking stupid. Some people said that, it was an evolution, X-Men, all kind of thing. Look, here's the thing. The X-Men and some of the mutants of the X-Men have had to kill before. I mean, Wolverine has a massive body count, but I'm just saying, the X-Men as a team have had to kill before. It's not something that they set out to do. It's not something that they enjoy. It's not something that they want to do. But there have been occasions where if they have to save lives, they have to take some lethal force, some lethal action against an enemy. It happens. It's part of the hero's journey. It's not always a good thing. But there is a difference between having to kill someone because you have no choice but you have no choice when it comes to saving a life, and then just gleefully murdering everybody left, right, and center because something wrong with you upstairs. There is a difference. And that is what the X-Men became during the Krakoan era. Like I said, the Krakoan era destroyed the X-Men in a way, and they could probably never be able to recover from. Honestly, they probably never be able to recover from. It turned them into a bunch of cold-blooded, merciless killers, and that has repercussions. Let's dive into this article here from Bounding into Comics. New Marvel Comics X-Men group editor says Krakoa era's biggest failure was turning mutant team into gleeful killers. Yep. Here we have Shadowkat. Yeah, here we have Shadowkat gleefully pushing a gun through a man's head. That's what we were doing here, people. That's what it became. That is what it became. Not any kind of actual thing, just madness. In the opinion of current Marvel Comics executive editor and newly appointed X-Men group editor Tom Brevoort, okay, and yeah, I know it's Tom Brevoort. I know. Believe me, I know, but I'm just saying what he's saying, so okay. One of, if not the biggest failure of the mutant team's recent Krakoa era was, simply put, that it turned the Marvel's merry band of mutants from selfless heroes into blatant killers. Exactly. The X-Men were always heroes doing what they could. That was the whole thing. They were protecting a world that feared and hated them. They were the heroes. They were the ones taking the higher road. But no, when it came to Krakoa, they were taking the low road and driving over anybody that they didn't like. That's what they were doing. Look at this one. You have Emma Frost here. I even covered this in the book with Emma Frost here, using some kind of gauntlet things to vaporize some of these Orcus people from the waist up. Yeah. And then telling them, welcome to the resistance, darlings. We must be nothing less than completely victorious. Yeah. And then she pulled up after with telling Magic and Polaris that they're killing fascists. Let's go. And what was going on was absolute madness. Brevoort, who assumed his latter position just ahead of the X-Books post-Krakoa from Nash's publishing initiative, offered his criticism of the mutants' most recent attempt at a nation-state while answering fan questions for the latest entry of his personal Substack blog, Man with a Hat. Okay. asked a trio of questions as to how he planned to direct his writers in regards to the mutant team's morality. Do you intend to make your tenure on the X-Men less morally gray than they've been written as for the last 45 years? Do you intend to present them as more plainly heroic? Do the X heroes now have a no-kill code similar to the Avengers or Fantastic Four? Brevoort bluntly asserted, my philosophy boils down to this. I don't think that the X-Men should be casual or gleeful killers. Well, that wasn't the case during Krakoa, because look at this one. You have Shadowkat here going into Orcus base, grabbing this guy by the foot and then phasing him halfway through. Right? Halfway through the thing that he's in space. Somebody saw that guy fall out there, but this one phased halfway through. So this is literally only his top half here. It's only organs and all kind of testicles and all kind of thing out there. You understand? And then she walks up to this door with bloody footprints. And that's what's going on. This is what they did. They turned Kitty Pryde so into happy-go-lucky murderers. Continues on. While they have certainly been in situations where lethal force was called for and appropriate over the years, I don't think that should be their default setting, he argued. And one of my big complaints about the end of the Orcus War was in how readily and even joyfully some of the X-Men murdered their foes. That's fine for some characters. Nobody's going to question Wolverine killing a bunch of people. Though I feel that even he had certain rules of engagement which he will honorably try to follow. But seeing Nightcrawler teleport a couple of hapless Orcus goons into deep space and leave them to die just felt wildly out of character and wrong to me. What did I say, people? I did a video on this. I talked about it. Nightcrawler was teleporting people into space to die. And I was like, what kind of madness is this? But no, it was supposed to just be, well, okay, that happened, now we just leave it and done. No, this was freaking creepy and sick. That's what it was. Continue on. If our heroes are going to be heroes, then they have to be held to a higher standard than that. We said it a lot back in Deathlock 30 plus years ago. You've got to do what's right, not what's easiest. I'm sure that we'll have plenty of moral gray area that we can explore, but I do think that the days when the X-Men would casually throw around lethal force and laugh about it thereafter are over now. I highly doubt that, because what they did with Krakoa was introduce a dark element to the X-Men. Not only have they tried to make Magneto out to be some new hero, they turned Professor Xavier into the bad guy and given the mutants an opportunity to enjoy murder. You can't just walk that back. You can't. As much as he may be saying that you can't just walk that back, because what you've essentially done is taken everything that was good about these heroes and said, listen, it wasn't working. I'm going to do this for this modern day nonsense, and this is what you got. You turn the X-Men into savage killers, and like I showed, Kitty Pryde did a lot of cold-blooded murder. Is something Shadowkat has never done. She was phasing men through halfway through concrete and leaving them to die, phasing guns into halfway through men's head and killing them, putting bombs in people's chests and leaving them to explode. It was absolutely crazy. You had Nightcrawler teleporting people out into space to die. You had Emma Cross blowing people, vaporizing people, half their body getting vaporized and stuff. You had Magic murdering people who were trying to escape while she was stabbing them horrendously. You also had Emma Frost messing with people's minds and then putting leash on them and walking them like literal dogs around. What kind of madness was that? But that is what they were doing. That is what the X-Men had actually turned into. And they were perfectly happy to keep writing that. In addition to the X-Men's bloodlust, Brevoort also acknowledged that one of Krakoa's biggest finale stumbles was how, rather than its many titles offering different stories for different audiences throughout the entire runs, they all eventually focused their narrative on the muted nation's socio-political happenings. Tom, I keep hearing about how the point of this new line of X books is meant to have something for everyone. As you felt like Krakoa didn't have wide enough appeal, pressed a fan by the name of Callie, I'm just wondering if you have any context of the early Krakoa era, as it's being said explicitly by Jonathan Hickman, that the point of the initial Krakoa was to have at least one book that would appeal to everyone. That may have been the point, Callie, at even what was laid out in those early books, replied Brevoort, and I don't really want to disparage any of it. But what I can tell you is that I'm far from the only person who felt that all of the X titles during the end portion of that era tended to slush together in a little bit, and all of them seemed to revolve around Krakoa business, as they sort of had to, given the setup. So we're working to try to remedy that. The next entry in the X-Men Light of the Ashes Revamp X Factor Volume 5, number 1, is set to hit what few comic book store shelves still exist on August 14th. Yeah, you even have Polaris here unleashing the brood to murder Orchis agents and all of this. Here's the thing, yeah? They talk about the books and all that stuff. When X-Men only had about like maybe 2 books, it was perfectly fine. You know why? Because X-Men was for everyone, but it wasn't written for everyone. That was the thing. It was written for the fans, and the thing was that anybody could come in and like it because it was written for the fans. This is what was going on. They tried to make it for everybody, and that is where they screwed up. That is where they screwed up. They decided to make it for everybody, when it could never be for everybody. It could only be for some people. This was their biggest blunder. But rather than learn from it and say, you know what, this isn't working out, let's just do what right. No. They kept going all in, hoping that, eventually it would somehow work itself out. When it didn't, this was the result of that madness. So yeah, Tom Brevoort has come out and said that, the X-Men being a bunch of cold-blooded murderers wasn't a good thing. Focusing too much on the Krakoa's socio-political nonsense wasn't good, and they want to change that. Good luck with that, Tom. I highly doubt it's going to happen. Let me know your thoughts on this in the comments. If you have a different opinion, I'd love to hear it. If you like, really hit that thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already. Ring the notification bell to be notified every time I put out a new video. And I shall see you all next time. Take care.